Hey there, welcome back. I'll be reading chapters 19 and 20 of Restart by Gordon Korman and published by Scholastic. This first chapter, chapter 19, is by Bear Bratsky, one of the tough guys. Okay, when the announcement comes that there's an assembly, we're all psyched. Why wouldn't we be? It's like a get out of jail free card for the whole morning of classes. What's the assembly about? Who knows? Who cares? In the auditorium, the big screen is set up. That means they'll be turning the lights out. The perfect chance to catch a nap for a guy who is playing video games until 3 in the morning. Aaron is way ahead of me. He drapes himself into a seat, his legs dangling over the back of the chair in front of him, his arms spread out wide. I fight my way in beside him, and we wrestle for position. Hey, exclaims the loser in the row ahead of us, the one with Aaron's size 14 construction boots hanging over his shoulder. But when he sees who he's talking to, he gets real quiet, real fast. He and his friends wander off, looking for someplace else to sit. I flake out next to Aaron. Wake me up when it's over, he mumbles, already half asleep. You're the one who's going to be waking me, I retort, and we exchange a few rabbit punches before settling in for the big snooze fest. Then comes the surprise. The whole purpose of this assembly is so we can congratulate Chase Ambrose and Shoshana Weber for the amazing video they made for some stupid contest or other. That's all I need to watch the principal and the teachers lining up to worship the kid who used to be a guy just like me until he fell on his head and suddenly became smart. It gets worse. We're not just going to worship the video, we're going to watch it. All 40 minutes. Well, forget sleeping now. I'm too ticked off. Even Aaron is sitting bolt upright, staring in outrage at Ambrose and the Weber chick on stage. The video starts. That's when my head really explodes. The thing is called Warrior, and it's about that geezer, Solway, the meanest old Dumbledore in the entire Graveyard Motel. No wonder the two of them spent so much time with the guy. Beside me, I can practically see steam coming out of Aaron's ears. It's not enough for him to make us look like jerks by doing community service when he doesn't have to, he sees. No, he has to make a documentary about the place so he can brag to the whole world. And with Shoshana Weber from the same family that got us put on community service in the first place. And I thought that guy was my friend. But Solway, I demand? What's up with that? Yeah, he agrees, a whole museum full of ancient fossils, and they have to pick the nasty old crab who complains to the nurse if his cookie is off-center on the plate. That's not what I mean, and you know it, I hiss. Why him, huh? Not just any old Dumbledore, Solway. No way that's a coincidence. Now this is the part of the book where the mystery lies, so I want you to be thinking about why are they upset that he chose Mr. Solway to interview, and what is the coincidence that he might be referring to. And you won't find out the answer to that till later in the book, but I want you to be predicting and just kind of thinking that through, what you think might be the answer to that. Chase doesn't know anything about that, Aaron reminds me. He's got amnesia. If he's got amnesia, I put it darkly, sounds a little convenient to me. Well, he's got amnesia enough to forget that he's our boy, Aaron says bitterly. I nod. He used to play football, now he doesn't. He says he's coming back, but I think he's just stringing us along. He's partnered up with the Weber, and he's even getting buddy-buddy with Joel Weber. He's making it impossible to get along with him. He acts like he's changed, but he's really just cutting us out. On the screen, there's a close-up photo of a gleaming Medal of Honor. In the voiceover, Shoshana explains that this isn't the actual medal Mr. Solway won. Mr. Wonderful Solway isn't just a hero, he's modest, too. He never wore the dumb thing because he didn't want people to feel bad that they don't have one. And over the years, he forgot where he put it. Yeah, right, I mutter. Shh, Aaron hisses. When it's finally over, Ambrose and the Weber chick get a 5-minute standing ovation. That burns me up, since I know for a fact that the other kids were just as bored as I was. I want you to think about that. Do you think the other kids were just as bored as they were watching that video, or do you think other kids might find it interesting? And again, this goes back to perspective taking and how these boys see the world differently. And one thing I'm noticing as I read out loud is the type of language the boys use to describe people. So for example, they call Shoshana a chick, like the chick on stage is Shoshana, and they call the old man a geezer. And those terms can be derogatory for females or derogatory for older people. And so it's just interesting how they, to me, categorize people and kind of name them things so that they can dismiss that they're actually people too. So I think that's a really interesting part of their mindset. And so just be listening for the type of words they use to describe people. Let's see. That burns me up since I know for a fact that the other kids were just as bored as I was. They bring the whole video club up there because they helped. Ms. DeLeo reads out a letter from the head of the Graybeard Motel thanking the filmmakers for their awesomeness and the school for having such awesome students. Puke. Aaron and I are sentenced to go to that place 3 days a week until we're practically old enough to check in there. And what do we get for it? Yelled at, that's what, by nurses and Dumbledores both. And Chase, who's worse than us, gets a love letter from the director. I've never been so happy to get back to the classroom. We can't just do nothing about this, I plead to Aaron as he takes the desk next to me. He's walking all over us and we're letting him. For the very first time, he doesn't look at me like I'm crazy. I've got an idea. I've got an idea how we can jog his memory. You know, remind him who his real friends are. And that's the end of the chapter. A bit of a cliffhanger, right? Okay, chapter 20, Brendan Espinoza. Brendan's one of my favorite characters in this book. Leaf Man wasn't the hit I was hoping for, even though it got a lot of YouTube views. For something to go viral, it has to reach a kind of critical mass where suddenly everybody is talking about it. Poor Leaf Man just didn't have enough legs for that. The bummer is, as great as it was, Leaf Man set me back big time with Kimberly. She's still nice to me, but it might be that she feels sorry for me because she thinks I'm crazy. I'm coming to the conclusion that our senses of humor aren't very compatible. Do you know what compatible means? So their senses of humor are not compatible. Compatible means when two people get along with each other, that they're similar. So it's safe to say that who your friends are people you are compatible with. That doesn't mean we aren't compatible, just that we probably won't like the same books, TV shows, movies, that kind of stuff, which is a lot of stuff, right? Besides, she's still totally moon-faced over Chase. So compatibility isn't really an issue right now. The fact that she barely even notices me, that's an issue. Anyway, I've got an idea for a new video, and this one's going to knock her socks off. It doesn't depend so much on humor as creativity and special effects. It's called One Man Band. Picture this, the Hiawassee Music Room. The camera films me pretending to play every instrument in the orchestra in front of a green screen. Then I use the video editing program to superimpose those images onto the various seats on the band risers until I've got a whole orchestra and they're all me. Presto, one band. Joel helps me reserve the room for Thursday after school. The music department is so thrilled to have their star back that Mrs. Gilbride would have promised him her firstborn child. Besides, he's known to be a good kid. It's not like he's going to trash the risers or anything like that. Unfortunately, Chase isn't available to work the camera. He has to take a social studies test he missed due to a follow-up appointment with his falling off the roof doctor. This might be a blessing in disguise because A, Joel volunteers to fill in, and he's a pretty good cameraman, and B, Mrs. Gilbride wouldn't let Chase anywhere near her instruments, amnesia or no. She's still mourning the piano like it was donated to the school by Beethoven himself. Also, C, Kimberly is always a little distracted when Chase is around. Maybe that's why she didn't get the humor in Leaf Man. Now with Chase away writing that test, she'll be able to concentrate on me. I want to rent a tuxedo since those orchestra guys really put on the Ritz. My mom won't spring for it though, so I do the best I can. I take the light gray suit I wore to this kid's bar mitzvah and paint it with shoe polish. My white shirt has a bit of a stripe in it, but I'm pretty sure it won't show up on camera. There will be a lot of me, but luckily we'll all be pretty small. I borrow a bow tie from my dad to make the whole ensemble more tux-like. When I come out of the bathroom all dressed up on Thursday, Kimberly wrinkles her nose, a very cute look for her, by the way. What I like about Brendan's character is that he's not afraid to be himself, and that he has a really big imagination, and he thinks of big ideas and then he carries through with them. So that's what I like about him. Dude, you stink. What did you do? Take a bath in magic marker? It's shoe polish, I explained. It's not me, it's my clothes. I had to improvise the formal wear. Why can't you wear normal clothes? Because an orchestra dresses fancy, but you're not in an orchestra. Well, if she doesn't pay attention to me, it shouldn't come as a surprise that she doesn't read my text either. On the way to the music room, I get her up to speed on one-man band. Her comment is, "You're dripping black gunk on the floor." Really? Uh-oh. There's a trail of shoe polish splatters all the way down the hallway. Too late to worry about that now. Once the video is in the can, I'll do my best to clean up after myself. I think rubbing alcohol works on that stuff, or maybe nail polish remover. Joel is waiting for us inside the music room. He's already put up the video club's green screen and set out all the instruments we're going to need. The flip cam is mounted atop a tripod, another reason why we don't need Chase's steady hand. Joel's got some extra lights plugged in with a spaghetti of power chords. We're ready to roll. For music, I've chosen a full orchestral version of For He's a Jolly Good Fellow, performed furiously in triple time. I'll add that in during the editing stage, but I play it on my phone during filming so I'll have the timing right while I'm doing my thing with the instruments. It's not such a big deal with the small stuff: trumpet, clarinet, sax, flute, piccolo. Do you guys know what a piccolo is? A piccolo is like a flute, but it's a baby flute. It's about this big, and it has a really high pitch. It's higher than the flute, so that's what a piccolo is. But it looks very similar to a piccolo, or to a flute. But for the violin and string family, it's important that my bow should be moving to the right tempo. That goes double for the trombone, the kettle drums, and especially the cymbals. If I go crash, then there better be a real crash. I know this song, Kimberly comments after the music has been playing in an endless loop for at least 20 minutes of shooting. How come you picked such a lousy song? We're in the home stretch. Bassoon, French horn, and tuba. The tuba is last. I stare at it. It's the marching band kind where you climb into the middle of it and it's all around your body like a python. Wait a minute, I protest. Where's the regular one? Dented, Joel replies. Somebody dropped it down the stairs and it's out getting fixed. So it's this one or nothing. Well, you can't have an orchestra without a tuba. I squirm in and struggle to my feet. I swear the thing weighs more than I do. I'm no Hercules, but the kid who plays this in the marching band is a 4'8" 6th grade girl. How does she lift it, much less have the breath left over to blow it, or to blow into it? Sorry about Bronco barking. He likes to bark at people that walk by, which happens all the time at my house. Okay, if he starts barking, I'll stop and restart. Kimberly is regarding me as a little dubiously, so I give her my most confident look and announce, "Piece of cake." It comes out like I'm straining to pass a kidney stone, not the effect I was reaching for. I put my lips to the mouthpiece and nod to Joel to start filming the final shot. The camera goes on. The double doors are kicked open, and before I can react, a tidal wave of white foam fills my field of vision. So I'm going to read that part another time, and I want you to imagine what you think the white foam might be. The double doors are kicked open, and before I can react, a tidal wave of white foam fills my field of vision. It hits me full in the face. It wouldn't normally be enough to knock me over, but with the heavy tuba bell suspended above my head, I overbalance and go down like a stone. There's a loud clang as the brass of the instrument strikes the metal edge of the riser. I hear a gasp of horror from Joel, and soon I understand why. When I roll out of the stream of foam, still wrapped in the tuba, I see Aaron and Bear, each armed with one of the school's big silver fire extinguishers, spraying down the room and everything and everybody in it. "Go away," Joel pleads in a quavering voice. Aaron laughs a nasty laugh. "Well, if it isn't the loser, I don't think we've ever welcomed you back to school. How rude of us." "Welcome home, loser," bellows Bear and blasts a jet of foam covering Joel from head to toe. I turn to Kimberly, who's standing there, and of all things, giggling. At long last, the girl has found something funny in one of my videos. She thinks it's part of the plan and doesn't even notice we're under attack. "Go get help," I bark at her. "Yeah, get help," snorts Bear. "Why don't you call your friend Chase?" That makes sense to me. He's the only one with half a chance of taking on these two. "Get Chase," I yell at Kimberly. Excuse me. Aaron laughs cruelly. "And you're supposed to be smart. Who do you figure sent us here, genius? You think Chase doesn't remember the loser who got him put on community service?" Bear adds. "Go," I shout. "He's in Mr. Solomon's room." A blast of foam silences me, and I go down again, still encircled by the tuba. Now my arms are pinned at my sides, and I can barely move. Not that I'd be much help standing up to those two Neanderthals. And if I'm upset, I can only imagine what must be going on in Joel's mind. After everything he's been through, he comes home only to find that it's starting all over again. So 2 things I want you to think about here. One, can you envision this scene with the fire extinguisher foam and the tuba and the big boys and the smaller boys and the clanging of the tuba? Can you get a picture of that in your mind? I have a good vision of what that might look like, and I'm envisioning my old junior high band room, and then with this scene set inside it. The other thing I want you to think about is, how is Joel going to manage this one? This is another attack on him, and he's already had a lot of trouble with the other attack, so this must be really scary for him. So be thinking about that. Kimberly bolts past the 2 attackers and out the door. They make no move to stop her. Their focus is on me and mostly Joel. "Hey, check out all these instruments," Bear snickers, as if the band room is the last place anyone might expect to find such things. "You think if I practice hard I could become a musician like the great Joel Weber?" He delivers a solid boot to the French horn, which skitters across the floor, kicking up a spray from the melting foam that covers half the room. "Please don't touch the instruments," Joel whimpers. "I promised Mrs. Gilbride I'd be responsible for everything." Well, that does it. Once those 2 idiots see how to get a rise out of Joel, they're off to the races, throwing flutes like mini javelins and frisbeeing cymbals all around them. They roll trumpets and trombones into the slop and send violins floating on top of it. A kettle drum is upended. Music strands are hurled in all directions. Sheet music is scattered like autumn leaves. Now, I'm going to stop here really quickly too. So this behavior for me personally goes, and I think for most of us, goes beyond goofing around and kids getting into a little bit of trouble. This behavior feels criminal to me because all of the equipment, all the instruments in this band room are expensive, and they're going to be ruined at the end of this scene. So it really makes me wonder why these boys are acting so badly. And think about their characters and why we don't really learn why they decide to be this way, but it's not good choices for them. Okay, back to the story. Still stuck in the tuba, I try to scramble toward Aaron and Bear. I slip on wet paper and hit the floor with another clang. Joel has Aaron by the shoulder and is trying to pull him away from the instruments, but Aaron laughs and shakes him off. Suddenly, Chase barrels into the room, Kimberly hot on his heels. "What's going on?" he bellows. "Dude, what took you so long?" Aaron crows in unholy glee. "We had to send the chick to get you." "This is your best idea yet," adds Bear. He hefts his fire extinguisher and hands it to Chase. "It's all yours, maestro." Chase looks totally blown away. I can't read his expression, shocked or something else. "It's your plan," Aaron reminds him. "Bring it home." Chase is a statue, eyes wide. Bear gets impatient. "Okay, I'll do it for you." He tries to take back the extinguisher, but Chase tightens his grip and holds on. There's a vicious tug-of-war for the extinguisher. With a mighty yank, Chase wrenches it out of Bear's grasp. It swings free, just as Joel rises from the floor where Aaron tossed him. With a thud, the heavy metal strikes Joel in the side of the face, and he drops back down into the foam. So just to collect that scene again, Chase wrenches it out of Bear's grasp. It swings free just as Joel rises from the floor where Aaron tossed him. With a thud, the heavy metal strikes Joel in the side of the face, and he drops back down into the foam. So now he's hurt Joel again. Not on purpose this time. Agitated voices sound out in the hallway. 6 teachers burst into the music room, Mrs. Gilbride in the lead. "What's going on here?" she yells, taking in the wreckage all around her. "Where's Joel Weber?" With a groan, Joel sits up. The foam on his face can't disguise the fact that his left eye is already turning black and blue. That's when it hits me how this must seem to the teachers. The music room is a disaster area. Instruments, music stands, books, and papers are strewn everywhere, the whole place buried in foam. The school's 3 most notorious bullies are right there. One of them, Chase, still wields a fire extinguisher. And their number 1 target, Joel, is down on the floor with a rapidly swelling face, obviously the victim of an assault. "It isn't what it looks like," I gasp and then bite my tongue. What if it's exactly what it looks like? The idea to send for Chase came from Aaron and Bear. Was that the plan all along? So remember in the last chapter, they were scheming to get back at him for something. And was Chase the ringleader, just like those guys said? The teachers don't pay any attention to me. Their job is diffusing the crisis. Mrs. Gilbride rushes to Joel to see the nurse, and the other staff members march Aaron, Bear, and Chase off to the principal's office. Kimberly follows. Even now, her only concern is Chase. As quickly as that, I'm all alone, still trapped in the marching band's tuba. With a heavy sigh, I struggle up and try to shake myself out of the brass tentacles of this thing. It moves maybe an inch. I'm going to be here all night. As I continue to wriggle and squirm, dripping gray, frothy shoe polish into the foam, I reflect that the worst part of this isn't being stuck in the tuba. It isn't that one-man band is never going to happen. It's the sad fact that Kimberly could leave me in such a terrible state just because Chase is in trouble. And as soon as I think that, I realize that the real worm around here has to be me, wormier even than Aaron and Bear. I care more about my love life than the fact that my friend Chase might not be my friend after all. It isn't true, I scold myself. Chase used to be like that, but not anymore. Then there's the evidence of my own eyes and ears, the trashed band room, another attack on poor Joel, Chase right alongside his old wrecking crew delivering the final blow. I sit down on the edge of the riser and hang my head, too depressed to wriggle anymore. The sound of the wet sneakers squishing in the slop jolts me out of my melancholy. I look up to see Kimberly standing over me. She says, "I thought you might need some help getting out of that thing." My heart soars. Hope. And that's the end of chapter 19. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll get back at it tomorrow. Okay, bye.